All right, back in the garage. But anyway, changing a power steering pump on a Ford Taurus. This is a 95. I don't know what the later years are, how they done it. But anyway, if you've ever got a 95 or earlier model Ford Taurus, this is what you're going to deal with if you ever have to change power steering pump. And mine was squealing, and my steering wheel was kind of pulling when I went to turn. It would actually, you could feel the pump actually, the pressure going up and down in the steering wheel. So I'm replacing it. But anyway, if you ever order a power steering pump, get the one that doesn't have the pulley on it, because if you're doing it yourself, this is just if you're doing it yourself, because you have to take the pulley off anyway. So you can't just swap this out and put it in this, because Ford come up, and let me tell you something, all the complaints that Ford's getting nowadays of all the craziness they're doing, it's nothing new. I mean, look, you cannot take that out of there without taking that pulley off. It's all the way around there, so you just can't pull it out. So you got to pull the pulley out anyway. And I'm going to use this. It's a bearing puller. That's the only thing I got that. It's got a little groove here, you see, that you can get a bite up underneath there. I have a press, but this thing's made out all plastic. Even this thing here's plastic, so you can't really be pressing on it too much, or you just crack something. Especially I've got to put the new one on, so I've got to put this back on this new one. And another tip is, when you take this bracket off, instead of having to pull the engine and all that good stuff, or having to lift the engine up, because it won't slide out of here. Like when this thing's in there, it's got a stud here, and where is the other stud? Then it's got another stud here. Okay, that thing sets on there. It's backwards, but anyway, it sets on here like this. Okay, so that big mount thing here's setting, it's bolted on here. You got two bolts that take that thing off after you unhook the power steering pump and get the tensioner loose and all that stuff. So anyway, I recommend go ahead and change your water pump while you're in there, and change your pulleys and your tensioner pulley, because those things, if it's got a good amount of miles, those things will go out in no time. This one has a little over 100,000 miles. They've never been changed. They still say Ford on them. So they've never been changed, and they were kind of rough. I started to hear them squeal from time to time. It wasn't the belt, it was the actual bearings in one of these idle pulleys. So this is the one that I'm changing out too. This is the metal one. I got this one. I don't know why I got it, but it's not even one that goes on here. I think it goes on this here. But anyway, you got this thing here, and you got to put this back together. There's a little sleeve thing that you got to screw down on the thing, and it'll go on there. But anyway, you'll see how it does. But the trick is slide that, take the nuts off here, get that pump and everything unhooked, because there's two lines you got to unhook. Take the belt off, slide it all the way out on this as far as you can, and it'll hit this rail right here. And then what you do is you go in the back of it here and take you a pair of vice grips and break this stud loose and start pulling it out. Now once you get this stud loose, you pull it out. All you have to do is twist that whole mount in the power steering pump up and slide it right off. So that'll keep it from having to take the motor mounts loose and all that bull crap to get in here. Now when you get down in here, you got two mounts that hook onto the water pump that hooks into your stinking AC unit, and then you got one that holds the lines down here. So you take this loose, and then you take all the bolts off, and then pull it off, and hopefully I can get that thing off there real easy, because it's right up against this. So hopefully I can wiggle it out of there, so hopefully I won't have no problems. But there won't be no trick into that unless I have to take the motor mounts loose and jack it up just enough to get this thing pulled off here. Or I may be able to take these bolts loose. I may be able to get those bolts loose if I can hold this tight enough. But anyway, that's just something you're going to have to deal with. But like I said, here's the problem you're going to really majorly have, is this thing here. And the two stud holes are right here. They're right here. Those are the two studs that hold that. So once you get one of them loose, the other one will stay in there, and it'll come right off it once you get this top one out. So, and then you'll just twist the whole unit up, and I'll show you how it goes in there. But since I've got it out already, but anyway, it'll set. Let me see here. Yeah, maybe I'm not getting. I think I'm getting the wrong one. Yeah, there we go. Okay, you're right here. Okay, you're all in there. This is what it looks like when it's in there. That's the power steering pump still hooked to the mount. I've got to take the pulley and everything off. But anyway, you see, once you, if that stud's in there, you can only slide this thing out to here. So it will not come off there. But once you get vice grips on that stud, once you get the nut off of it and get it, you want to slide it all the way out. You'll slide this all the way out on the studs while they're in there. You'll slide them out like that. And then the stud will still be here, so you'll be able to get a hold of it on the back, and you'll twist that thing out and make sure you're pulling it out. And then once you slide it out, you're in here. Once you slide it out, you'll pull up on this and then slide it right out. So that'll keep you from having to take all that stuff off. I should be able to get that water pump out of there without the only thing that worries me is these studs here, because they'll have to slide off them studs. It's ridiculous. Ford's been doing this for a long time, so it ain't something new. If you've got a newer Ford, it's nothing new. Now, the water pump's fine, but I am changing it since I'm in a headache, and I've gotten it down this far anyway. So if you actually have to pay somebody to replace a water pump or power steering pump, yeah, you might as well go in and get it all changed out. That way you got one bill instead of a couple big bills. So all right, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything.